My name is Laura Paige Albert, and I'm 29 years old. I work at Five Oaks Church in our Connections ministry, which is often called like the First Impressions ministry. It helps people on the weekend feel warm and invited. And I'm married to Kyler Albert. We've been married for 8 years.
I'm Kyler Albert, and I'm 32 years old, and I'm a youth pastor.
My husband and I, like I mentioned, have been married for 8 years, and right around like 2 years of marriage, we're, like most couples, I feel like around that time, maybe not. But for us, it was like, all right, we really love children.
It's been a long journey for my wife and I, just through the years being married and not having kids, wanting kids.
How this all started was last August. Kyler was asked to preach on the weekend at the services. The one weekend he was available, it was the passage about the woman that's been bleeding for 12 years in Matthew.
We have decided leading up to that sermon, probably around the springtime before that summer of August, to take steps forward in adoption. Our lead pastor, Henry, is just like, hey, you never know what could happen with that story, sharing that story, what God can do with that, what he can do in your hearts with that. And lo and behold, what we find out in January is that a little girl named Lacey was born around that same time when I was preparing for my sermon.
Fast forward 6 months later, it's the last weekend of January, and we get an email like at 11 p.m. Saying like, hey, we don't know if you totally know us, but we go to church with you, and we've been fostering this little girl since birth, and we think you should adopt her. And we were like, what? Her name is Lacey, and she's 9 months old now.
Lacey was not a part of our lives until January. From January until even currently, we have barely missed a couple days of seeing her, and we've seen her every day, and it's been such a joy.
I think if we were waiting on paperwork and people and systems and not getting to spend time with her, I think it would be a lot harder. But getting to spend so much time with her, it's like, we don't really feel like we're missing out. She feels like our daughter, and we talk like that, and so that's pretty wild.
She's opening up our hearts, that I think if we kept this journey of closing our hearts and hopelessness, I think we would have come to a really scary place in our lives.
Obviously, we're hoping and praying for a happy ending, that we get to adopt her, but even if that doesn't happen, I know we're supposed to be in her life for right now. It's amazing to look back and see how God used his one sermon that he's preached at church to bring about this whole story.
I think a lot of times, if you just jump into the foster or an adoption process, you feel like you're picking a kid or you're rescuing a kid, but I think Lacey, she's saving us.